What's up everyone, welcome back. Today we're playing Ezuri, Stalker of Spheres in Historic Brawl. Ezuri is a 4-mana Simic 3/3 Phyrexian Elf Warrior. When Ezuri enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. So this is a proliferate deck. I actually made, I think it was my last video, was an instructional video on how I go about building decks. So this is sort of a part 2 of a 2-part series. First part being, building the deck from scratch and my thoughts on what cards to include and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, go check out that other video. So this is part 2, where we're actually going to play some games. So I'll go over the card a little bit, even though I already have. Ezuri, essentially, like I was saying, is a proliferate matters deck. And then it's also a card draw engine. So whenever you proliferate, you draw a card. And, if we are able to pay the 3 extra mana, so 7 mana total when Ezuri comes down, we can proliferate twice, which obviously we can proliferate a number of things, but we can also draw 2 cards. So a lot of value in Ezuri if we play it correctly. And the way that I built the deck was, Simic, Planeswalker payoff, right? There's other counters in here too, like what's a good example? As Foretold, right? At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on As Foretold, and then essentially you get to once a turn play a spell for free that has the same mana value as the number of counters on this. So obviously if we proliferate this and we make it have a bunch of counters, then we can start playing pretty much any spell in our deck for free. On each turn, right? Not just our turn, but our opponent's turn too. Which means we can play free counter spells, free planeswalkers if we want. So, the main theme of the deck is planeswalkers, but there are a couple other things like I was saying with As Foretold, and I think Midnight Clock is in here, right? And the idea of the deck is to get planeswalkers down, protect them with our counter spells, try to ultimate them super fast, right? Like with Nissa, we could ultimate it and put any number of forests onto the battlefield, and they're all indestructible. And then, if we proliferate enough, we could minus Nissa and still keep it on the battlefield. Like if Nissa's at 9 loyalty and we minus 8, it's still on the battlefield. So now we just have indestructible land creatures, right? Other things like that. There's Ren, which I don't know if we'd want to minus 8 in this deck, but just being able to minus 3 a bunch to make a bunch of tree folk, giant creatures, right? Things like that. Nissa, right? We can just make, we can give all of our creatures overrun for a turn. So the deck may or may not work. But that's the fun of this channel is, not trying to play the sweatiest neck-deaded, neck-deaded? Is it? Net-decked decks is what I'm trying to say. Like decks that have already been flushed out and are just copy-pasted, right? Like I'm actually trying to build stuff from scratch. So what I said in the other video was, when you build a deck, it's not done. Like you get all the 100 cards sorted out. Now you got to go play it, right? So I have not played this deck once since I made that video. And we're going to play some games, and we're going to learn together what's working and what's not, and what we may need to add or subtract, right? The original idea was, the planeswalker and proliferate counter thing, but also there's about 15 counter spells in here, which is a lot. But we're in Simic, so we don't have a lot of other ways of defending our stuff other than counter spells. So my thought was this is the way to do it, and then we have like Magic Mirror for card draw, right? This puts counters on as well. We draw cards equal to the counters on in our upkeep, so we can draw a ton of cards with this. We have the typical blue stuff like River's Rebuke and Cyclonic Rift, as well as Brawl. So, it's like Simic. I don't want to call it control. It's like Simic counterspell mid-range, right? With Planeswalker ultimate payoff being the goal. And then we can draw cards anytime we proliferate, and then we have a bunch of cards in the in our deck that allow us to proliferate, whether it's cards like Staff of Completion or creatures that come down. So that's the idea. I will say though, I realized when I opened this deck that in the other video, I didn't flush out all the lands. I think I just forgot to do that because was already like an hour and 15 minutes in on that video. But the mana base is different. I added in the fetch lands, command tower, cavern of souls, stuff that you would expect, and then a bunch of the good dual lands like breeding pool, which is a fetchable target for our fetches. But I think I already had a Beseju and Layer of the Hydra and a couple of these other ones in here. But I did add like 10 of the mana fixing lands, fetch lands, those types of things. Just nothing like that would surprise you. It's stuff that you would expect, right? But these are integral to mana fixing and thinning the deck and all those types of things. So I just wanted to point that out. This is not the exact same deck as the one that I made because the lands are a little bit more fleshed out, but otherwise all these spells are the same. I haven't touched these at all. So let's get in the queue and see if we can actually get the deck to work. I know, like, personally I have a when I build historic brawl decks, I tend to build them like commander decks, and then I realize, oh, that's not going to work in a 1v1 format. That'll work in commander but not in 1v1. So we'll find out if I did that here. I find that what I have to do a lot with historic brawl decks is turn them from commander decks into 1v1 decks, which means I take out some of the thematic stuff. Like in this deck, I might have to take out proliferate cards and put in generically good green and blue spells, it's just the nature of the format because it's more competitive since you're going 1v1. But we'll find out. So this is cleric. Sacrifice, probably, the typical, like, they sacrifice their creatures and we lose life and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, we have protection for our commander, but they're in Orzhov, they probably have removal, so it's nice to have some protection. But we need ramp. We don't have any proliferate spells or card draw. We just have ramp. And they get to go first. I think we mulligan this. Spell Pierce is nice. Mystical Dispute is nice. Not against this matchup, but it's still a 3 mana, just counter target spell. This is good. This is good. I think we'll keep. And then we have one tapped land. So that'll be our first land. Okay, we could counter their... Well, unless they play their commander next turn, we could counter it with this. This is a counter spell that puts a +1/+1 counter on one of our creatures. So, and then we can proliferate that +1/+1 counter. Okay, they go for Dreadhorde Invasion. It's pretty good. We'll just pass with Essence Capture up. Now they're gonna add a counter to this every turn. So, not right away, but that is board pressure. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on this. Probably a good enough target to counter because they need sacrifice outlets in this deck in order for it to work, and that's a sacrifice outlet, so getting rid of that is, good. Let's go ahead and crack this for our breeding pool. We'll pay the 2, and we'll play Stomper and ramp a little bit more. We can't block with it yet. We have a lot of... I don't know if it really matters here. I think green for now. We have to have... How many lands is it? 7? Yeah, we need 7 lands for this to be a blocker. But we should be able to get there soonish. Next turn we'll have 5. Yeah, we can just also destroy this Dreadhorde invasion with Kinker Bloom. What just happened? Why did their zombie go away? Huh. I don't know. How... I'm so confused. I have no idea how their zombie went away. Okay, anyway, let's Kinker Bloom. We won't be able to... Well, we should probably get rid of this. Should probably just do it while we can. Puts down the shields from Mystical Dispute, but we still have Spell Pierce up, and they're running low on lands. We can also blink this if we get desperate for more lands. We really want to play Ezuri on with the be able to pay the 3. Yeah, so they play their commander. It's not the end of the world. It is a 2/2 Death Toucher, which is a little annoying, but they're tapped out. This is another sacrifice outlet, so that's a good target for Spell Pierce. If they can't sacrifice their stuff, their deck doesn't really work. They do have a 2/3 flyer, which is annoying. We'll have to deal with that at some point, but we're okay right now. 120 life. Okay. So... we have nothing to proliferate when this comes down. We might just want to blink this on our end step and get the extra land and then have it up for Ezuri and leave the shields up. Also, if they try to go for removal on this, we have a way to get around the removal. Wonder what they're doing here. We also have Mystical Dispute up. So, whatever they're doing, this will counter. Another creature dies, target player loses. So it's more of the same type of effects. So do we counter this? I think we could. I think we could. Why don't we see what we draw first? Do you have a Swords to Plowshares? Drew a land. Okay. Well, since we drew an island, let's just get a forest to try to keep things balanced. Do we care about this? Whenever you create or sacrifice... I mean, these all do the same thing, right? Yeah, I think it's okay. I was hoping we drew something more relevant, but... we also have this to, if they start attacking us, we can negate one of their attacks, because they all have 2 power creatures, or all their creatures are 2 power. man, with the lands. We might just have to do this just to draw 2 cards, which is really awkward. But they're low on cards. We can now block with Stomper. So awkward proliferate, but we kinda need the cards, okay. Well, at least we did the thing. We didn't have anything to proliferate, but we did the thing. So that's the floor of this card. Play it for 7, draw 2, don't proliferate anything. It's not the worst value. It's definitely not what we're trying to do, but it's not the worst value ever. They're only going to attack with the 2/3. Interesting. They're worried about the crackback. Dude, deck, chill with the lands. Okay, let's, yeah. They have a Death Toucher. Do we care? I think we attack with Stomper, and if they want to block it and have some of their stuff die, that's fine. It has vigilance, so if they don't block it, we keep it as a blocker. So it really doesn't make sense to hold it back. We're gonna Castle Lock Wayne, okay. Well, the bad news is that our deck isn't doing anything. The good news is that we have ways to stop them from doing anything. Enters the battlefield, may search your library for a creature card with mana value 1 or less, reveal it, put it on your hand, then shuffle. Since you can't pay for this and it's like the worst counter in this matchup, let's just get this out of the way. I don't like them being able to tutor anything into their hand. I really don't care about the 1/1. Attack for 2. We're starting to get a little low on life. And they could definitely have a turn, the way their deck is designed, you know, they could have a turn where they kill us pretty quickly now that we're sub 15 life. We really need some kind of impactful spell. We can draw 2 again by paying 5, you know. But it wouldn't come into our next end step, which is super awkward. Let's attack with Stomper. If they want to block with something, that's fine. They don't. Stomper's such a good card. Let's... What is this? It comes to play the next end step. Okay, let's see what they do. We can do this on their turn. Or in response to removal or something like that. If they attack all, then we can basically make them skip their combat with this card. Okay, they're going for 4 damage. So if we take this, we go to 10. Next turn we attack for 4. They're at 9. If we do this now, we're at 14, and next turn they're at 9. And we can still Teferi's Time Twist, right? Do we have enough for that? QQ. We have 8, 9, 10. So this play costs 5. So yes, we do. I think this is a good enough time to do this. Well, they didn't want to play against the Simic deck. All right. I don't think that was a good example. That game was a good example of whether this deck is working or not. But it is a good example of how people really hate playing against blue. Like, we were doing literally nothing, and they were like, yeah, I don't want to play this game. It's so funny. Azoni. Ooh, as foretold. Nice. Okay, what does this do? Menace. Oh, this is a new card. Oh, yeah, that's right. New set. Okay. Menace. Whenever a Zoni, center of the web, enters the battlefield or attacks, you may collect evidence for... What the fuck does that mean? To collect evidence for, exile cards with total mana value 4 or greater from your graveyard. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember reading about that. Okay. If you do, create 2/2/1 black and green spider creature tokens with menace and reach. Sacrifice 4 tokens, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards. Okay, all right. Golgari spiders? I don't know. Okay, so this is a great hand. Thassa lets us bounce our commander after we play it, so we can just every turn pay 3 and draw 2. This lets us pay spells or play spells for free, and then we can proliferate the counters on it. This lets us proliferate and draw 2 cards. This is a ramp creature, mana dork, and this lets us proliferate or put a counter on something. So this is a great hand. If we just had, well, it's actually great in the sense that we have a land and or ramp creature depending on what we draw. So we're definitely keeping this. Sorry, I didn't mean to take that long. I'm trying to take shorter turns. Let's play this like this, and then we'll play this next turn. Shambling Ghast. Okay. So we don't draw the land, so I think we do it like this. They seem like a dark ritual. Okay. For old Rustine. Sure. I was gonna say they seem like a creature deck. That's what I was gonna say, and I think that last turn of theirs proved me right. And the reason I said that was because I don't feel like I have to worry about my mana dork being killed. Beginning of upkeep, put an oil counter on mines. Instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I mean, that's pretty good. I think we... Oh, this is a tough call here. There's so many of these spells I want to play. Let's... As foretold. I think that's the best one. No attacks. So they have a bunch of 1 power creatures, which we're not terribly worried about. I don't really know why this is in their deck. I guess it's because the sacrifice 4 tokens, so it's like a tokens matters deck. That's why they have these things to make tokens. But then they get to surveil 2 and draw 2 and gain 2 life. No block. We're not super worried about taking 3 a turn for now. play the land. We can proliferate this and get it to 2. We can also just play our commander and hope it lives. We could play Thassa. We could draw 2 and proliferate. And proliferate again. Yeah, that's the turn. So we... Okay. So let's... Oh, you know what? Wait. We could play this for free if we proliferate to 2. But then... Yeah, but that keeps us up as a blocker. So I think we do that. So let's do this for 3. Oh no, server. Don't do it to me. Okay, hold on. We got this. I feel like once a week I get kicked out mid-game on Magic the Gathering Arena while recording. It never happens when I'm not recording. It always happens when I'm recording. And then I have to rush back into the game or else it's going to make me skip my turn. Yeah, please don't make me skip my turn. It made me skip my turn. Okay, well at least this has flash, so it's not like we're doing nothing. Cool. Okay, so now they make treasures when their creatures die. That's fine. No blocks. Okay, so we can... Interesting. Okay, so we could proliferate. I get to play it for free because of As Foretold. Submit 2. Then I can... I don't have enough to do that. But I can do this and Tezzeret's Gambit. And then I can proliferate again the Pollen Bright Druid. Do I do it like this? Draw 2, proliferate. Bump. Submit 2. No attacks. Bounce this, proliferate. Oh yeah, we cooking now. Okay. This is cost 0. So now anything that's 5 or less costs 0. We're gonna magic mirror proliferate the shit out of that. Start drawing a bajillion cards. We just gotta survive. We can double proliferate with Ezuri next turn. Okay, they're gonna sack some stuff, make some spiders. Or collect evidence, make spiders. Okay. Pass. They don't attack. Interesting. Play this for free. Pick a top 3. Pick a card out of our top 3. They're gonna start sacking some stuff to make some treasures. No, memory lapse. Sacrifice a land. Special library for 2 basic land cards. We could ramp. Is that worth it? I think this is better. Submit 2. Done. Voring collect, so now we can double all of our counters when we put counters on stuff. Oh yeah, this is going very well. Okay. Let's Ezuri for 0. Pay 3. 1, 2, 3. Submit 2. Submit 2. Draw 2. Polluted Delta. Crack it. We can do this for free on their turn. So let's put up a blocker. Now we have Thassa. Next. Thassa is indestructible. So we might as well attack with Thassa, right? Block with something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We gotta get their board down a little bit. They're gonna sack it. That's fine. This is good for them. It's good value, but it makes their board smaller. Right now, our biggest issue is our life total. So this helps us keep our life total in check. Okay, next. You could proliferate a bunch more. We can't double draw with Ezuri. We don't have enough mana. We only have exile target permanent we control. We could just do Thassa. Keep it up as a blocker. It's probably worth it. They don't have anything with trample, but they do have menace. And it would have a +1/+1 counter on it. It's kind of a weird play, but I think it's the right one. Golgari doesn't have a lot of ways of exiling, so I don't think it's a risky thing to do. Now this does mean we don't get the trigger from Thassa, because that was an end step trigger to bring it back, and so it wasn't on the battlefield to end step trigger itself, but now all of our spells are free, and we have an indestructible blocker, which is hard for Golgari to get around. Lolth. Make some more spiders.
Come closer, little thing.
As soon as we draw like a River's Rebuke or Cyclonic Rift, we're in business. In fact, Vorinclex coming down pretty much gets us right back on track too, because it's a 6/6 hasty trampler. Okay, that's a little bit of an issue. That is a win con for them. They don't attack. Done. We can start putting a ton of counters on Magic Mirror though, and I think that's what we're gonna do this turn. So let's play you for free. Let's Vorinclex. Okay. We could attack down Lolth. But I don't think that's... It's tough. I don't think they have a way to mass sacrifice their board, so I don't think we can die next turn. Oh, we could just kill Lolth with Hummingbird, huh? Oh, no, they have reach creatures. Never mind, never mind, never mind. Yeah, this is super good, but... Whenever a creature you control dies, put a loyalty counter on. So, there's a world where they block with a bunch of stuff, and then this still survives, and we lose our Vorinclex, so... No attacks. We'll just go and do this. We don't have enough mana to double proliferate. But we will starting next turn. So let's just do it this way. They're gonna sack a bunch of creatures. Draw 2, gain 2 life. Create a bunch of treasures and a bunch of other triggers.
We will slay our
What is this? -8. You get ammo with whenever opponent is dealt combat damage by one of your creatures you control. If that player lost less than 8 lives to the turn, they lose life. Equal to the difference? Okay. Interesting. I think let's start putting counters on stuff. Let's make this gigantic. They've got 2 counters because Vorinclex gives 2 counters to us. Also, oh yeah, because of Vorinclex, Lolth didn't get any loyalty counters. Because you can't put half a counter on something. So Vorinclex is a direct counter to Lolth. Zero.
Go on, run.
They have a bunch of cards in hand, which is kind of scary, and a bunch of treasures. But they don't want to attack us, not at this board state. They could board wipe, but we'll still have Thassa and a bunch of mana. Beginning of your upkeep, if you control no snakes. Oh yeah. Let's basically make a death touch snaky guy. They could mill us, I guess, slowly. They're not going to attack. Oh yeah. It begins. Uh-huh. Make a snake. All of our spells. Basically anything we draw in our deck is free. Mirror Shield. Mirror Shield for Vorinclex would be really good. They do have a Death Toucher now, which is unfortunate. We do have Thassa, though. Okay. We also have this. Does this have Trample? No, it does not. Okay. So I think Vorinclex is probably our most cherished creature right now, because it's saving us from dying. So let's go ahead and protect it. Okay. We can use this as a way to, if they try to attack all, to not allow that to happen. So I think what we do here is we just... Let's attack down their Lolth. They're going to allow it to happen. Cool. Wolf down. End turn. Let's bounce our Ezuri, double proliferate, draw 2.
A setback.
They're gonna kill it? No, they're gonna do their thing. Resolve all. So we're gonna put a ton of counters on Magic Mirror. So if we survive this next turn, we should have an answer for their board. Let's do it like this. Oh yeah. 6. We're gonna draw 6, or actually 7 on our upkeep, if we make it to our upkeep. Not really relevant stuff right now, but that's okay. I don't think I ever thought that I would have 16 counters on either of these. Yeah, make a snake. Rusting does its thing. Resolve. So if we make Vorinclex big enough, we could just attack them for trample damage. Alright, Scoot Swarm, that's good. They don't really have landfall synergies though, so it's not going to get very big very fast. Okay. More token creation. Okay, more drain effects. Yep. Man, we just need a River's Rebuke and we're golden. Hopefully we get it in our top 7. I don't even know what that is. Okay. Alright, I think we survived. Oh, they don't attack all. I think that's a mistake by them. I think they should have attacked all. Because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blockers to their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures. So, I mean, they could have got us down even lower, but alright. That's their call. They got to discard the hand size. Trigger. Resolve. They drain us because of their snake. Woo! Okay. Well. I don't see anything that's going to help us here, unfortunately. Although we did have fun with our deck. Return target permanent card from a graveyard to your hand. Teferi's Time Twist. Okay, let's get the land down. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 mana. So what do we do with it? And of course the timer is going to time us out. So I think we got a Narset for free here.
Mind and body
Has 10. I guess we could have Nissa'd as well. I didn't think about that. Blur is good. Wow, they just scooped? Why? I forgot about Sorry, I apologize. I forgot Vorinclex was going to double counters. We definitely could have Nissa'd and -8. And that would have been cool. I don't know if that would have won us the game, but that would have been pretty sick. So my plan, though, was to Nissa to try to dig for a card. I got Blur. So for 1 mana, we could bounce our Ezuri. We could double proliferate and draw 2. I was just trying to dig for more answers because these don't get us out of this situation. All they got to do next turn is create some tokens and sack them, and we're dead. So there isn't anything in here that gains us life. There isn't anything in here that removes their board. So I guess they made the mistake of fearing the blue player with a bunch of cards and not actually allowing me to try to play my turn. I get it. I'm going to draw 9 cards next turn, but you had the win if I passed the turn. So kind of impatient by our opponent, but hey, we take those. We take those wins. I think that was a good, at least, example of how the deck is supposed to work. So I think we know that the deck can do its thing. We just need the pieces on the battlefield, and our commander definitely works. So that's good. That's good. 2 weird games though, where I feel like the opponents scooped purely because they were scared, right? Which is, one of the benefits of playing blue and being a patient player. But if you're a more experienced Magic player, you've been playing for a while. Like I've been playing for on and off for roughly 10 plus years. You just learn that you can't be afraid of blue cards. You got to make them have it. You hear people say that a lot. Like, all right, you got blue mana up. You got a bunch of cards. Like, are you going to stop what I'm doing? If you do, cool. If you don't, then you're dead. So you got to make them have it. And I think the opponent was a little impatient right there. Okay, another Simic deck. Another new card. So give me a sec while I read this. This spell costs X as a cast, where X is the total toughness of creatures you control. Until end of turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0. Gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. Draw cards equal to its toughness. Oh, good. And can attack as a defender. So it's like Defender Tribal with the ability to draw an absurd amount of cards. Holy moly. And flip their... Does it flip their power toughness? No, it doesn't flip them. Okay. This is a cool hand, but no blue mana. So, yeah. Can't keep it. Counterspell, no blue mana. Yeah. Okay, blue mana. We can pop it back in their hand. Ramp. Planeswalkers. Keep. What are we putting back? Against this deck, I think it's better to make 3 3s, right? Than draw cards. Although 2 extra turns is pretty nice. But this will be good later. This will be good. This will be better earlier is what I'm trying to say. Yep. Hopefully we draw a land. Otherwise we're not doing anything. Alright. We don't. Yeah. Well, we can't do anything right now. It's just an 0-5, so let's not panic. But, we are going to have to figure out some kind of board presence soon. We might even play Ezuri early against a Simic deck. I mean, Brawl's a card. It makes our instants and sorceries cost 1 less, so that is kind of like drawing a land. And what I mean is, like, Simic is really bad about removing stuff, right? Green has the ability to remove artifacts and enchantments, sometimes lands, basically like non-creature permanents, but mainly artifacts and enchantments, especially on Arena. Okay, so this is the one that flips power and toughness, right? No. It has Ward 2. Pay 3, it gets +X -X, where X is the number of islands you control. Okay, so it would just become like a 2/15. Okay, never mind. Okay, we got a ramp. Yep. Let's go get an island and a forest because we have some double green spells in our hand. And then... I don't think we have a permanent... Oh, we do. We have an island. So, man, that's a weird use of this card, but we might want to just go get the island. And... yeah. And then we don't miss our land drop, right? Hey! We did it. Okay. I mean, we got 3 toughness, so that's fine. This is instant speed it is. Okay. We'll pass. That's a weird use of this card, but hey, you know, we'll take it. So we can resolve this. We definitely want to bounce this. If we do, they can't replay it. Right? No, they can. So let's bounce it. We don't want them drawing an absurd amount of cards. Next turn we can Garrick and put a 3/3 down. They could pay 3 and give this +2 -X. Why would they attack with a 0/17 unless they were going to do that, right? They have 3 mana up. Do you think they have like a way to kill Brawl if I block with it? I'm just going to make them have it. Go. I mean, you're going to do nothing unless you do something, right? Ah, called your bluff. Called your bluff. So they have something to pump this. Maybe it's like a way, you know, way to give this 3 so they could kill Brawl. I'm not falling for it. Brawl's too important right now. If this was later in the game, I wouldn't care, but we need the cost reduction. Activate abilities cost. That's pretty good. Activate abilities cost 2 less to cast. So this only costs 1 mana now. Okay. So we can ramp again. Or we can Garrick. -3 to make a beast. And put a loyalty counter back on it. So we'd only go down 1. -1. They're definitely going to want to attack Garrick. So it takes some pressure off them attack. Because they have to do damage to us, right? Combat damage to a player. Yeah, to draw the cards. We could put the 3/3 down. And not have the trigger. I think it's ramping is the answer. We're still early enough in the game. We could do this again. We could ramp twice and then have Ezuri next turn, so that's pretty good. Yeah. We can also take a creature out of combat. Okay, so let's pass. We can do it like this and like this, and we'll see what they do. They're going to activate Shadrix. I guess they can activate it any number of times, right? Is that the trick? They can just activate it a bunch. That's all they're going to do. Okay. So we'll take it out of combat because it doesn't have trample. Go get 2 islands so that we're balanced on mana. Cool. So they did nothing. Sweet. So we can do that again with Teferi's Time Twist. Make a beast.
I love this. Respect for nature is always returned.
Pass through the turn. Now they're gonna want to attack Garrick. What's the -7? You get an emblem with at the beginning of your end step. You may search your library for a creature card put on the battlefield shuffle. That's pretty good. I think. Did I put Jin-Gitaxias in this deck? I can't remember if I put Jin-Gitaxias in the deck. Ah, you had to ruin our good game of Magic with this alchemy bullshit. We could Tails End it though. We could Tails End it. Yeah, we think we gotta. I think we have to. I really wanted to do the combat trick, but I think we gotta do this. Okay, draw a card, discard a card. Oh, that's really good against them. Yeah, I think that's an easy keep. So they got 2 mana. Okay. Oh, I see it. It's a target creature. It's not any creature or all creatures. It's target creature. So they're just gonna attack me for 5? Yeah, no blocks. You get to draw 3. Oh no, you get to draw 15. Wait, do they not have to discard the hand size? Oh, Reliquary Tower. Yeah, that was probably a bad decision. I forgot it was based off their toughness, not their power. Well, let's see if we can dig ourselves out of this mess.
Unfortunately for you.
Come, the will of the woods is made manifest.
6, 9, 12, 14, 15. It would technically have enough to kill their commander if they attack. Yep, that's a pretty good one. It's not a trampler though, so that's... We at least have that going. And they can't activate Chadrix now. And they can't activate this. So you're telling me there's a chance. Oh man, I wish we drew a land. I guess we can do this, right? I think we got a plus here.
We can foster much.
Okay, we got some lands. Polluted Delta. Crack. Go get Breeding Pool. Pay 2 life, and then I think we got a double proliferate, right? I mean, I think that's the play. Okay, that's a great draw. I think the board is most important right now.
Is always returned.
No attacks. So now, I mean, they have a full grip in their hand, but assuming that their only play is to attack us, we have a good board to protect everything with. So we'll see what happens. Never mind. Yeah, I think I lost the game when I let them draw 15, but what are you gonna do? None of this has trample though, right? No. Okay. So how are you gonna attack? They're gonna just attack my face. It's probably smart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1. Which is the one that draws cards? This one is. Definitely blocking you. These are all 16/16s. It'd be nice if we could kill something, but we obviously can't. So, yep. River's Rebuke would be really sweet. Cyclonic Rift. Nope. It's too much to ask. Okay. Yeah, in Simic we don't have any way besides mass bounce to deal with a board like this. We could -3 for a creature. There's no way that we're going to be able to make enough creatures here. I mean, we could... That's one creature. We don't have enough devotion to blue to make this a creature. Well, we'll just do this play because I want to just see. But I think we've lost, right? I forgot how... Well, this is a new card, so you're going to have to forgive me. But I forgot it was based off toughness. I thought it was based off power. So I thought they were going to draw 3. I did not realize they were going to draw 15. I probably would have blocked it. But, you know, that's how you learn. So... Yeah, and there's nothing for 4 mana that's going to get us out of this. No attacks. I mean, I guess make the tree folk and I guess plus.
Out of our way.
If we drew the mass bounce, I think we would be right back in this game. But we did not. Nissa, yeah, that would have been a cool card. On a different board, that would have been cool too. Good game. Yeah, I mean, we could have, I think, I don't know, I don't want to say we could have won that game, but I think we could have definitely been right in it if I hadn't let them draw 15. Letting someone draw 15 in any matchup is pretty much a death sentence. So that's on me. That's not really the deck's fault. That's bad decision making by me. Okay, do one more. So far the deck has, I kind of, it's done a little bit better than I thought it would. I'm always wary of playing Simic decks. It's like my, how do I put this kindly? Simic decks are super powerful, but when you play them in powerful shells, like you're not playing Uro or Kinnan or those kind of like busted commanders, It's really, I find it a very weak guild. Hold on, let me read this card real quick. I'll table that thought. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, it triggers an additional time. This card's pretty good. So it's mono white weenie. We have Wash Away for their commander. We have all blue cards. It's pretty dope. Miscast, Tail's End. Yeah, I mean... Okay. We're going to mono blue Controlville, but here we go. Okay, Esper Sentinel is pretty annoying. And a mana rock. We just need green mana and we're doing pretty well. Okay. Yep. Brawl's a nice draw. Do we Midnight Clock? I think we Midnight Clock and Wash Away their commander. They get to draw a card off Esper Sentinel. So anyway, what I was saying is Simic's a hard, for me, the type of player I am, it's a hard guild to play. I know people love Simic decks, and I'm not saying Simic decks are bad. No way. Simic decks are some of the best decks out there. But the reason why they're good is because they're more of a, like, you ramp and have tons of powerful cards in blue. So you have, like, two of the most powerful things. But if you're playing in a deck like this, where your strategy is not, like, exploding out in front of the opponent, it's more like trying to, you know, go 1-for-1 with the opponent until you can do your thing. It's a much weaker guild. Like, we don't have any removal. You know, blue, you know, is obviously very bad with removal. What do we do here? Why didn't it let me counter their commander? Did I just click through the trigger on accident? I didn't mean to do that. Well, okay. I think we gotta put this down then. Did I really click through the trigger? I can't talk and drive at the same time. Anyway, yeah, Simic. It's fun, but in this kind of strategy where I'm not, like I said, exploding out in front of the opponent. I'm like playing the game with them. It's a tricky color combination. So I thought the deck would do a little worse because of that. Because Historic Brawl, you really need to have removal a lot of the times. They just want the trigger off this, so I'm not going to give it to them. It'd be cool if we could draw green mana. Double trigger for Esper Sentinel. Yeah, so if I miss the trigger on this, I think that's where I lost this game. But we'll see what happens. I'll play it out. Welcoming Vampire, really good white draw creature. You're gonna attack with some stuff now. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we'll just block your commander, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I don't really feel like playing this game out. Never mind. I lied. Let's get into another game. I feel like I lost the game as soon as I let that commander hit the battlefield. So you'll have to tell me in the comments if I just clicked through the trigger, which is probably what happened. But you could you could see if we didn't allow that to happen, like all that value they were accumulating, that would have been halved, right? And then their commander would have cost 5. So I don't even think they had 5 lands. So they still wouldn't have been able to replay it. We had other counters waiting for it when it was going to be replayed. So we would have been a lot more in that game. But, you know, making mistakes gets you punished. Anyway, so yeah, Simic, Simic's really good at exploding out in front of their your opponent. I don't really know how to say it other than that. Basically, like, you know, you're on turn 3 with 3 lands. The Simic deck is on turn 3 with 7 lands. They're already playing their haymakers by the time you're just getting your, like, board set up, right? That's kind of what Simic does. But if you're playing a Simic strategy that doesn't do that, then the color combination, I find it to be really weak. We get to go first, so we can go get a blue source. This is the gnome one. This will be a really tough one for our deck. We can wash away their commander, though, which will help a lot. Okay. Is this also an artifact? No. Okay. Go get blue mana. Okay, cool. Go get our dual land. We don't have a... Do we have a turn 2 play? I guess we do, right? They can't play their commander next turn. So, let's just do this. It's got flying. So we can now proliferate every turn. Okay, they ramp. So we'll put a +1/+1 counter on this guy and then turn it into a 3/3. Start taking the fight to them. We'll counter their commander, which they're definitely going to play this turn. They might not. They might do some board setup, but if they do play their commander, that really is going to set them back. This deck typically doesn't run a lot of lands. The last couple times I've played it, they've struggled to hit their land drops, and I think it's because it's an aggro deck. Really low mana curve aggro deck. Yeah. They might just scoop it up here, but we'll see. Because now, yep. Again, this goes back to the last game. This is what I was trying to do in the last game, and I don't think the other opponent would have scooped, but making their commander now cost 5 when they obviously have no lands in hand, because the first thing they would have done is play their land drop, right? And they didn't. So either they're playing very weirdly or they don't have a land drop. So now they are minimum 2 draw steps away, and they'd have to draw 2 lands to get back in the game, right? And they just wasted their turn. Now we're going to proliferate every turn. We're going to start playing our stuff. I mean, yeah. They might still come back and win, but they're just not willing to do it. So, importance of effects like Wash Away. This is the best counter in Magic, or not Magic the Gathering, but in Historic Brawl and or Commander. This is the most powerful counter spell. So, definitely include it in your blue decks. All right. I don't think. I mean, I've tried, but I don't think we're gonna get like a the kind of game I was hoping to record, where we got to do our thing, and we had like a really long game with an opponent. Just don't think it's gonna work out that way. Oh, this is from the new set. I know I keep saying that, but I'm just like, hey, I'm a little 10-year-old kid inside. All right. I like new sets too. This is that cool Anthem / Impact Tremors enchantment. It's pretty cool. I think it's going to be sneaky good in standard. All right, let's go to the deck review. So, we played, I don't know, was that 5 games? We played like roughly 5 games. What's my conclusion on the deck? I think the deck's working. You know, the other factor, obviously, in well, not obviously, but to me, obviously, because I play so much of this format. But the other factor in Historic Brawl is you never know which tier they're going to put your commander in. Are you going to be in Hell Q? Like, we played a Serulf deck the other day, and Serulf is it's more powerful than this deck, but it's definitely not like an A or S tier commander. It's like a solid B plus, but they put us in Hell Q. Every commander we played was like one of the most powerful commanders. So something you have to know, which you won't find out until you start playing the games, is what tier are they going to put your commander in? And with this one, they put us definitely in the B tier, right? We were playing like stuff that I've never even seen before, stuff that wasn't like, you know, it wasn't exploding out the gate. It was like slow and methodical, right? So this is a solid B tier commander, which is great. I think that this build for this commander works in that tier. You know, 15 counter spells. It's really reliant on the proliferate effect to draw cards. You know, even though we're in blue, we don't have a lot of ways to draw cards. I mean, we have like the magic mirror, but that's a proliferate target, right? Which we saw in that one game. And then we have Narset, which is also a proliferate target, and Midnight Clock to refill our hand. But in general, we're depending on Ezuri's ETB to draw cards, which we proved can work, right? So in this tier, I think this is a totally solid build. Could it be better? Yeah, I think, you know, you're in blue, and since we're already playing like a semi-control-y mid-range strategy with 15 counter spells, I mean, you could lean even heavier into that and go like full control Simic, which I think would be, you know, probably more competitive and more consistent is the word, right? Like, because blue has some of the best card draw effects and or you know, search your library, or, you know, like the top X cards of your library, pull the most relevant spell out, kind of like Narset effects, right? Look at the top 4 cards of your library, reveal a non-creature, put it in your hand. So this blue has the ability to not only draw cards but dig into your deck. And so since this deck is kind of like you want to put the pieces together in the right order and protect them, I think you could lean into like Simic control and keep all the main proliferate targets, and it would probably be good. But if you're just trying to have fun with like a casual proliferate deck, something different in Simic besides the typical, you know, land ramp, you know, type thing, I think this is a great deck to try. I do think that if I played maybe 10 more games with this deck, I'd have a better answer about what to cut and what to add in. But I think my initial thought is like, you know, there was times when I was playing where I felt like the only answer to get card advantage was to wait till I had 7 mana, and that's just a little bit too much, right? Like, you know, there are plenty of effects in blue that are like really powerful draws, like Memory Deluge, which is 4 mana, right? So you get to dig 4 deep and put 2 spells in your hand, and then it flashes back, you know, later for 7, and you get way more value. Like, you get to scry 7, or not scry 7, but, you know, look at the top 7 and put 2 spells in your hand. So You know, waiting till you get 7 mana to double proliferate is fine. But it's not good, right? It's and since this is like the main way we're drawing cards in the deck, I think that's probably my main conclusion, is that if you want to add in blue card draw to make this deck, like, to smooth out the drawing cards to get the pieces to have your hand full at all times, then in order to support that kind of deck, you know, because you're going to have to remove some of your proliferate creatures and things like that. In order to support that deck, you're going to need to go like into a full control shell. That's where my mind goes, right? If you just add in card draw and you don't change anything else, then your deck is kind of in between this style and a control style, which means it's not doing either one very well, right? It's doing half of this and half of control. So you either got to lean fully into this mid-rangey kind of strategy or go full control. So that's something that if you're interested in, you can try. I think this is more of like the commander build, right? Like how you might build this card if you're building a commander deck, which I thought was really fun. And I was actually kind of surprised how well it did, because I thought it would, like, for all the reasons I said in the video, I didn't think that due to this color combination and leaning so heavily on the commander for the card draw, that we would actually be able to make the deck engine run. But we actually did a couple times, and when it ran and we had the deck running, it was pretty nuts. So I was definitely surprised and a little bit impressed by this card. I will say though that, you know, going back to what I was saying before, waiting till 7 mana to draw 2 is fine if you have all your As Fortolds and your magic mirrors and a planeswalker down, because then you're waiting to 7 mana to proliferate twice and draw 2. And so you can maybe like ultimate your planeswalker that same turn, or, you know, play a free spell off As Foretold, you know, those types of things. That's where this card is insane. So I built the deck with this being the, you know, main card draw engine, and I think maybe that's not optimal, is what I'm trying to say, because you really want to play this on 7, right? Now if you have this, and we did have games where we had this down and we had Thassa, so if you have a way to bounce it every turn without having to pay the 3 on ETB, then it's really, really good, right? Because then you're just playing this for 4, you can play Thassa and start bouncing it, and then you're just paying 3 to draw 2, proliferate twice, which is insane value, right? But the static of this, of whenever you proliferate, draw a card, that's the main way we draw cards in this deck. And I think if I was to build this again, I would move away from that being the main way to draw cards, and I would just put in, since we're in blue, might as well put in some blue card draw effects. You wouldn't have to put in a ton in this same style. Now, if I wanted to go full control, then I could really like put in a lot of card draw effects and you know, tighten up the hatches. But I think just a couple, like 5 of the best card draw. Like, I'm trying to think. Rhystic Study would be one. You know, maybe Teferi's Ageless Insight. Is that the one? It's the 4 mana legendary enchantment that draws you an extra card if you draw another card besides your first card draw. So that would trigger with this. So now you would proliferate twice, draw 4 cards if that was on the battlefield, right? Things like that. So, you know, those would be the types of effects that I would look for. And then, you know, I would just cut maybe like 5 of the worst cards in this deck. I don't know what those are, but like maybe like Quandrix Cultivator is kind of like, you know, it's kind of you know. So maybe like some stuff like this, you know, like Solemn already covers the 4 mana go get a land slot, so this is kind of redundant. So, you know, stuff like that. Anyway, I think I've talked about the deck enough, but cool deck. Really cool card. I think it'd be cooler in Commander. I say that every episode, but this is definitely a cool Commander build around. So yeah, if you like the deck, leave a comment below. If you think I missed a card, or if there was something that would be incredibly synergistic with this deck that I missed, you know, leave a comment, let me know. In the other video when I built the deck, I definitely acknowledge that there are cards that I just don't own, like Karn's Bastion, the land that lets you proliferate. That would be obviously includes in this deck, but I just don't own them yet in Arena. I own a lot of the cards in Arena, just not all of them. And as you can see, I don't have any rares or mythic wild cards to just throw around right now. So, you know, I just, any of the stuff, you know, there's other planeswalkers too. That was the other thing. Like, these aren't like maybe the most optimal planeswalkers. They're good, but they're maybe not the most optimal. So there's probably other more optimal planeswalkers if you went through. I just don't own, you know, all of the green and all of the blue planeswalkers. Someday. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. If you watched all the way to here and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Subscribe. It helps me out, helps the channel grow. The more people that subscribe and interact with the channel and do all those things, the more videos I can make, the more time I can dedicate to this. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.